You may have heard that leg strength as we age is tied to longevity. It's also been tied to better cognitive health and fewer falls, which we all know that once we have a fall, we can have this downward spiral that affects every aspect of our daily lives. So this practice today is to work on lower body strength specifically. And I invite you to join me on your mat. You'll need a chair, so I would take a steady chair that doesn't have wheels and bring it to the top of your mat. You want it on a sticky yoga mat so that it won't slide around. If you don't have that, you might have the front of the chair next to a wall or a heavier piece of furniture just to have that steadiness there. And we're going to start in a mountain pose just so we can kind of sense into what's happening in our bodies. So if you need to hold the chair so that you don't feel like you're going to be dizzy and fall over, please do that. But soften your gaze towards the floor, even close your eyelids and sense your body standing here. And begin by noticing where is your weight? Is it more in one foot than the other? Do you feel stronger, steadier in one leg? Notice anything that might be happening in your feet, your ankles, anything in your knees, your hips, low back. And then opening your eyes. Let's start to bring some movement into our body and get ready to do some standing poses to strengthen. So step your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Bring your hands to your waist and start with some nice gentle circles. I like to think of this as being like working with a hula hoop. We just want to bring mobility into the low back, the waist, the hips, then switch, go the other way. So we're looking to do maybe 4 or 5 circles in each direction. Good, nice job. As you come back to center, let's step the feet back close together. Bring them as close together as you comfortably can. You might need to keep one hand on the chair, but we're going to bring our hands down to the knees if you can, and we're going to start to circle the knees. Right, this is bringing mobility into the ankles, into the feet, but you'll feel that the knees are moving, the hips are moving. Let's switch directions. This is a good way to get circulation of blood and fluid here. And then let's stand up tall, holding the back of your chair for a little support. Let's bring some mobility into our toes. So we're going to come onto the ball of one foot and then start to circle that foot in one direction. Right? Trying to feel through all the toes and across and spread them a little bit. And then switch, go the other way. Good. Then staying on the ball of your foot, draw your foot back so that the toes spread against the floor a little bit. Try not to press too hard into that foot. Let your weight stay in the standing leg. And then lift your foot and bring your toenails gently to the floor. And this can be difficult for some people, so we're not going to stay here long. Good. And then release your foot, shake it out. It's just bringing mobility into those toes. Let's take a moment, weight on both feet to notice any difference between the foot you just worked and the other foot. And now let's work the second foot. So bending the knee, we're going to make those circles across the toes, back around the ball of the foot. After you've done maybe 4 to 5 in one direction, switch to 4 to 5 in the other direction. When you bring your knee to stillness, we're going to slide the foot back just a little bit. Again, we're trying to spread the toes and create some space between them. Our toes are really important as we're walking. And then lift your foot and see if you can bring your toenails to the floor. We're not pressing hard at all. It's really just settling them there. And then let it go, shake it out. All right, so let's begin our standing poses with some movements that will start to strengthen into our feet and our arches, our ankles, and our calves. So use your chair, and you can stand behind it. Let your fingertips rest lightly. We want the chair there for support and to give us confidence, but we don't want to rely too heavily because then we're not working the muscles in our legs as we wish. So we're going to start by shifting our weight forward into the balls of our feet and lifting the heels up away from the floor. Feel how your calves, your ankles, the arches of your feet are all working. Then drop your heels down. rock back and lift all 10 toes up. Right, that's why we're holding the chair so we don't fall over backwards. Do that again, rock forward and let the heels lift up and away from the floor. And then take the heels down and rock back and lift those toes up. Now let's add lifting one arm. So I'm going to take the arm closest to you and lift it up as I lift up on the balls of my feet. Pause here and then lower my arm down as I lower my toes. And again, I'm going to rock back and lift all the toes. And now let's do the other arm and rock forward and up. Pause and then come back down. Let's do each arm again. So this is nice work for our legs and it's strengthening them in a way that's very helpful. We're going to do one more time. This time I invite you to take both arms up. If that doesn't feel safe because of balance concerns, then just do one arm at a time. So you're either going to switch arms or do both arms again, and then lower it down. Good, holding on the back of the chair, just shake out each leg a little bit. I got a little bubble here in my yoga mat. I'm just going to straighten that out. And we're going to shake out. Okay, so from here, let's move into some standing warrior poses. So I'm going to step my left foot forward a little bit, and then I'm going to slide my right foot way back. You want to slide it back enough so that when you go to bend this left knee, the knee and the ankle are going to be in alignment. You can still see the tips of your toes. If your stance is too short, right, you're going to find that the knee goes way over the toes. And that means we might be pulling on some ligaments rather than actually working the muscles. So try and get the foot back, and you'll notice my back heel is lifted. I'm doing that intentionally, right? Again, because I want to strengthen and use all these strong muscles in my thighs. So as we inhale, we're going to straighten the front knee, and you'll find your back heel rises up high from the floor. And then I'm going to bend the front knee and press the heel towards the floor. It may or may not touch. You can add an arm as you lift up and lower it down as you press the heel behind you. You can add that same arm again and down. And this time we're going to come up and stay. So you're welcome to stay here with this arm up or to bring the other arm up as well. Pause here. There's lots of balance work going on, lots of leg strengthening. And then lower your arms, bend your knee, press your heel back. And then step that back foot forward a little bit. So now both feet are flat and toes are facing forward. Next, we're going to do a pose called pyramid. And this is great for stretching and lengthening in the backs of the legs, but it also works to strengthen into the hamstrings. So I'm going to again keep my fingertips lightly on the chair. Take a breath here. And as you exhale, bring the elbows into your waist as you bring your torso and the center of your chest towards the chair. You're going to feel a big stretch in that left leg. Inhale, rise up to center. And exhale, bend your elbows. Nice big pyramid stretch. Let's do that one more time, coming up to center. Exhale. Now we're going to hold here. If you find that this is uncomfortable and you want to bring your hands down to the seat, you're welcome to do that. Just notice how that might change the stretch in the back of your leg. And notice if this right hip is trying to pull back, see if you can pull it forward a little bit. That will intensify the stretch too. We're going to take one more breath here. Good, then bend that left knee slightly. Push off with that left foot and come up to stand. We're going to keep our feet where they are and take our back toes and turn them out. So now we can turn our bellies towards the long edge of our mat. And you'll notice I'm bending my front knee again as we come into a warrior two stance. So we're going to work with the arms here. And again, you can hold the chair and work with one arm or do both arms. So I'm going to straighten my knee and let both arms float up overhead. It can be an OV, it doesn't have to be straight overhead. And then exhale, I'm going to bend that left knee and reach the arms forward. So inhale, leg straightens, arms reach overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Let's do that one more time, reaching up. And this time as we come into our warrior two, let's hold it. Think about drawing your thighs into each other as if you had a beach ball between your legs you're trying to keep from disappearing and rolling across the sand. Keep that active because we're strengthening our legs here. Nice. From here, we're going to move into a side angle pose. So bring your hands down, one hand to your waist. You can use the back of the chair, right, as a place to lean your elbow. If you have a little more flexibility, you may find that you can rest it on your thigh. I have to widen my stance in order to do that comfortably, right? And we're going to open up the chest here. And again, I want to be pressing actively into both feet because I'm working to strengthen my legs. Take another breath. Good. And from here, we're going to move right into a triangle pose. So I'm going to bring my hand to the chair. You might hold the back of the chair to the seat and straighten that front knee. So now I'm in what's called triangle. And your hand can rest here or in the back of the chair. And try not to round forward. Try and open up your chest. You're going to feel a lot of pulling in that inner thigh, all working to strengthen our legs. And then again, bending that left knee slightly, press up and away from the floor, turn your feet forward, and then you can heel toe or walk your feet in, shake out the legs. That was a lot of work, right, as we move from one pose to the next. Before we do the other side, let's do a little balance work here. So again, I'm gonna step a little bit away from my chair so I don't get too dependent on it. And I'm gonna take this outer leg, right, because we've been working with the left leg as our standing leg. And I'm gonna bend my knee so I can bring the foot off the floor. It doesn't have to come up high, but you certainly can take it high. And then you can work with some balance here. If you'd like to take a little bit more challenge, you can straighten that knee, take the leg out in front of you. That will make the balance a little more tricky. And you're welcome to tap the back of the chair so that you have that little intermittent balance, or simply hold the chair. Good. And then bend the knee in and bring your foot back down. Good. Bring your hands to your waist and do a little side to side hip shifting. And then before we move our chair and do the other side, let's do a standing down dog. So for that, you're going to hold the back of the chair and walk back to create an inverted L shape. And this is not only a great stretch for the back, but it's great for the hamstrings. So you can shift the hips as you bend the knees. And you can bend and straighten both knees as feels appropriate for you. And then when you're ready to come out of the pose, just lift your head, walk in, roll out your shoulders, shake things out. All right, we're gonna do that same sequence of poses to the other side. So I'm gonna move my chair. You might just need to move your body. But we wanna work now with the chair on this side, just so we have that support. And this time, my right leg is gonna go forward and my left foot back. And remember, when I take that foot back, I wanna have the heel lifted. So I'm coming into that high lunge. And we'll again inhale and straighten the front knee, which means we'll come up way on the ball of that left foot. And then as we bend the knee, we're pressing the heel towards the floor. And inhale, lengthen. Exhale, press your heel towards the floor. Inhale, straighten that front knee. And exhale, press. Let's add our arm in now. So we're gonna inhale, lengthen, arm comes up overhead. And exhale, we bend, hand back to the chair. Do that again. And back down. And then we're gonna come up and stay. So remember, you can stay with your hand on the chair, or you might lift it and play with taking it off, or you might feel confident enough to take both arms overhead. Please do what feels best. And then when you're ready, lower your arms, right? Lower your back heel and step the foot forward so you can bring it flat to the floor. Good. Remember, we did pyramid, so we're going to do pyramid on this side. So straighten that front knee, fingertips rest on the chair. Take a breath in, feel like you've gotten a little bit taller. And as you exhale, bring your chest towards the back of the chair. You're bending the elbows into your waist. Big stretch in the back of that right leg. Inhale, stand up tall. And exhale, come forward again. Inhale, bring your torso upright. And exhale, let's come forward. And let's stay here for a couple of breaths. Remember, your hands can stay here. They might come down to the seat of the chair. And you may be feeling so stretching your calf as well as your hamstring. All right, to come out of the pose, we're gonna bend that front right knee and press into it and come up to center. And now we're going to turn towards the long edge of our mat. So hold your chair for support. And I'm just going to turn my back foot out. I'm going to keep my right toes pointed towards the chair. And we're going to work with our warrior two. So remember, we started in bent knee position. And then as we inhale, we straighten the leg and the arms reached overhead. And exhale, bend the knee, arms reach out to the side. And inhale, reach overhead. Exhale, reach the arms. One last time, reach overhead. And this side, as we come into our warrior two, let's stay here. Again, think about that action of hugging the thighs towards each other. So you feel the glutes, the hips, right, the hamstrings, all those muscles in the legs working together. Even the feet might be gripping a little bit on the floor. Nice. From here, we're going to go to side angle. So bring your arms down, hand to your waist. Remember, you can come to the back of the chair or to your thigh. So your choice. Okay? Back of the chair is really nice. And then think about opening your chest and then work those legs together because we're working on strengthening legs. So we want them to be active, engaged, and really working hard to hold us here. Nice job. We're going to go right into triangle pose. So straighten that right knee. Your hand might stay here. It might go to the seat if it's not already there. Try and open up your chest rather than roll forward. So it helps to think of leaning back towards a wall. You just don't want to fall over backwards. Good. And to come out of this pose, we'll once more bend our knee, press into that foot so we can come up to center. Hold your chair as you turn your feet forward, and then heel toe, step or walk your feet in, shake out for a moment. We're going to do that single leg balance we did on the other side. So standing, fingertips resting lightly on the chair. You're going to take the outer leg and lift it up so all your weight is going to the leg closest to the chair. You're welcome to stay here and tap the chair, play with letting go, or straighten the knee and take it forward. And it's okay if you have to hold, or it's okay if you need to bring your foot down and take a pause. Good. Let's bend that knee in and return it to the floor. And let's bring hands to waist and do that little side to side with our hips once more. Nice work. All right, and one last standing down dog. So holding the back of your chair, walk back and create some nice length in your spine. And be sure you can shift your hips, you can bend and straighten your knees, whatever feels best. And then lifting your gaze, walk in towards your chair. And we're going to come to seated. So you have the option of sitting in the chair or sitting on the floor. Both will work. I'll show you in the chair first, but you could be just as easily doing this on the floor. We're going to work with a pose called Dandasana next. This is great for strengthening in our quads. And the quads, these muscles at the front of our thighs, are really key and important for maintaining good knee health. So if you've had any kind of knee issues or had knee surgery, you know that very well, probably better than I do. All right, so I'm taking my feet forward. Because I'm in the chair, I'm resting on my heels, my toes up. If I were sitting on the floor, my legs would be straight out with my heels resting on the floor, same way, right? And we're gonna use the strength of our belly, but mostly the strength of our quads to lift the foot off the floor. So lift it up, doesn't have to lift high. Hold it for 1, 2, 3, and then release it back down. We're gonna do the same thing now with the opposite leg. We're gonna lift it, doesn't have to be high. 1, 2, 3, and release it back down. Let's do each side again. I'll show you how it looks if you're on the floor. Okay, hands are by your hips. So we're going to lift the leg, hold it 1, 2, 3, and release it down. And then the opposite leg, 1, 2, 3, and release it down. Take a moment to rub out your thighs because they might be complaining a little bit. Good. And then if you're on the floor, you can bend your knees and let your knees windshield wiper side to side. If you're in the chair, just make sure you're towards the front edge of your chair and you're holding the sides. You can do the same thing. We just don't want to fall off the chair. All right. Good. Let's do one more movement to open up our hips as we finish our practice. So we're going to work with a little bit of a figure 4 opening. This is like pigeon in the chair. So I'm going to stretch my left leg out and I'm going to bring my right foot across. I want to try and not have it on my knee, right? So if you're finding that you can't get it up here to your thigh, do it just below, right? And then I'm gonna start to slide that leg in so that I can bring a little opening to the hip. If you're seated, excuse me, on the floor, right, you would be here and start to slide it in. You're gonna feel a lot of opening in your hip. Do the best that you can. Okay. And then slide the heel back out, release that bent leg, shake out both legs, and we'll do the other side. So try and bend the knee. Right. And then slide the leg in so you get a little bit more stretch in the hip. Breathe into wherever you're feeling it. I'm feeling it a little bit in my hamstrings. And then slide your heel back out. Release your legs, shake them out. Nice job. We're going to bring the knees in towards the chest. So if you're on the floor, I would have you come to your back. If you're choosing to stay in the chair, we're going to bring our chest to our thighs. So come forward. This will stretch out your low back a little bit, but you can rock side to side, release any tension in the low back and in the legs. And then releasing, coming to sit up tall in your chair, or if you're on your back on the floor, stretching long on the floor, and take a few moments of quiet rest. So let your gaze soften and feel what's happening in your hips, your glutes, your legs, your ankles, your feet. How they're responding to this work of strengthening them to help us have good balance, to stay active and independent, but also to help with our cognitive health. You're welcome to stay here longer, but if you're ready, begin to open your eyes. Bring a little movement into your body, wiggling fingers and toes. Feel free to stretch. So if you're laying down, stretching on your back. And then rolling to your side or moving towards the front edge of your chair, come to seated. And take a moment here, and we'll bring hands over our heart or in prayer. We give a moment of gratitude for the work that our legs do day in and day out, helping us climb upstairs, get in and out of the car, right? Walk to the mailbox, stand at